on the video set is where I first met Vanessa. I wasn't some big time basketball player at the time either, so it was like, you know, it's a pleasure to meet you. It was a 2-day video shoot, and I was always looking for her. Like, I wanted to know where she was. And I would finish a take and then go to my trailer, but I wonder where she is the entire time, and then come out of the trailer and just want to talk to her some more in between takes and stuff like that. And she wrote a phone number down at the time where you had to still write phone numbers down. And I called her the very next day, and we talked for hours. She was just beautiful. We literally did everything together. And I thought I was a big dork because I loved Disneyland. I loved the Disney movies and things like that, but I never really had a chance to go to the park much. And she was a big Disney fan too. And we used to hang out at Disneyland. We used to go to Magic Mountain. She became my best friend, you know? And for me, it was very different to have somebody that I was so close to, because I had been so used to growing up in isolation, really, and moving around from place to place, and making new friends all the time. So I never really opened up to anybody because I knew I was just going to inevitably move. But now, you know, being in Los Angeles and feeling like I'm going to be a Laker for the rest of my life, and I just met this beautiful woman that I just see the world the same way with. We decided to get married. I proposed. She said yes. We're both so young, right? So I'd wake up and I'd go train and I'd come back and she'd still be in the bed sleeping like 18-year-olds do, man. She'd be asleep till like 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, man. And then I'd lay down with her and I'd go to sleep again too. And then, you know, we'd wake up and just, you know, do what kids do. I'd take her to the batting cage. We'd go hit some balls. Like, you know, we play miniature golf. You know, we go to the movies. We go out to eat. It was a beautiful time, man.
Forgive me, Father, for it has been a while since I have last ranted, and I feel a rant coming on. It has just been a week since Kobe Bryant's fatal helicopter accident, and from what I can tell, his body has not even been put in the ground yet. And from the reaction from the feminists and the black women on both sides of the aisle, white feminists and black women, you would think that this man was the devil incarnate. But it reminds me of reading Dr. Tommy J. Curry's book, The Man Not, about the image of black men and how white women and black women use the image of black men for their advantage. One to gain white womanhood, and one to protect the myth of white womanhood. So let's start with the less obvious, or I should say maybe even the most obvious aspect of this coin that we call white womanhood, and the light side and the dark side of it. Let's start with the light side, or the white side of it. How even today that black men are considered abusers and rapists of good white flesh. That even in this supposedly integrated atmosphere, that the myth of white womanhood that's been around for 400 years still raises its ugly head. Now, it's been 17 years since Kobe Bryant went to Eagle, Colorado, and was offered sex by this 19-year-old page, or should I say concierge, that gave him his private tour of the hotel. Like, why Kobe needs a private tour of a hotel by the concierge, I have no clue. How she wound up in his room having sex with him. How she cried rape and then came to her rape examination with 2 different men's sperm inside of her that didn't match Kobe or his entourage. How the case was dropped because she was 7 months pregnant And the prosecutors and her didn't want to embarrass her any further, so they politely dropped the case. She refused to testify. Now, all of that was ignored by white women when they went to the airways, and not only just white women, white men went to the airways and start crying rape culture. Now, this is 17 years ago, and this was a big show trial 17 years ago. They really didn't even make it to trial. Now, it was settled out of court. Kobe took a hit. He was embarrassed. He had to pay a shit ton of money in advertisements and to his wife to basically keep his family together. He got past it and finished out his career with spectacular fashion. It even caused a rift between him and his teammates. So he has been skewered for this many times over. But the myth of white womanhood rears his ugly head because you can't do this to white men. Jeffrey Epstein did what Kobe did and more and didn't get this kind of scrutiny. Jeffrey Epstein's death and the stuff that he did, which is much more heinous, didn't get this kind of scrutiny that Kobe did. Because guess what? Jeffrey Epstein is white and Kobe is black. And white womanhood has to be protected from black men. And Kobe, no matter what his status is, has to have his reputation sullied because some little white girl in Colorado, in a no-name town in Colorado, acting as a concierge, saw an opportunity to get the bag, as black women say. But nobody takes that into account because she's white. And white womanhood has to be protected at all costs. Not only by white women, but also by white men. The body wasn't even cold yet when newspaper articles were published about Kobe's rape allegation. And it wasn't just the conservative press where you thought it would come out of, it was also the liberal press. Democracy Now!, a daily left-wing, liberal, public program, the next morning started talking about Kobe's rape allegations. The body wasn't even recovered yet. And that's all they were allegations. Nobody ever says that the charges were dropped. Nobody ever says why the charges were dropped. They go through a whole hour talking about the case and what the purported case, but nobody will actually delve into the details of why the case was dropped, because that would be too embarrassing to white womanhood, or that the case should have never been filed. Had Kobe been a regular dude in a regular town with a workaday job, he'd have done 40 years for rape and been absolved 40 years later. When the DNA test came back and says that he wasn't there and it wasn't his sperm. But by then, white womanhood would have been upheld and the little white girl would have been believed, much like the woman that accused Emmett Till of sexually harassing her and he was killed. And 40, 50 years later, she comes out and says that he never said anything. Still exists today. Let's go to the dark side, which is what makes me more sad. Now, Kobe Bryant made the sin of, number one, chasing white women, which is something, the reason they don't like OJ. But he married a non-black woman. And just like the other side of the myth of white womanhood, the darker side of that myth, black women trying to gain access, to gain the status of white womanhood through black men, practicing ownership, much like they did back in the 19th century, where black women were allowed to own black men, own them outright. So they think that because Kobe Bryant was black and came from a black family, that his ownership and his fealty was to black women, not only the potential wives that should have been black, but also to his mother. They think that his effort and his determination and what he did and what he earned for himself and his family should have gone to the quote-unquote black community, or to the black community through quote-unquote a black woman. And it's not black men that are doing it. I've scarcely heard any black man say that, but I hear countless black women talking about Kobe Bryant, not because of the kind of person he was, not because of the lack of stuff he did for the black community, but because he married a non-black woman. He married a Latina who has the looks that black women really want. that is really the only problem. It's not that he was a good or bad guy or that he was a Satan incarnate. Is that his only sin was marrying a woman that wasn't dark, that didn't look like them. Now there's a referendum on black men, because that's all it really is. Kobe Bryant is just a stand-in for all black men. How dare they, or how dare he, go outside the boundaries that were prescribed for him by our women or our betters. No other race, no other group would even say that. You deserve to die. You deserve what you get. It was your karma to die because you didn't marry one of us. You took all your wealth and all your power, you gave it to some other group of women, because that wealth and that power and that money belongs to us and not her. So Vanessa Bryant becomes public enemy number one. So all that hatred is probably going to be transferred from Kobe to Vanessa, because she's the one that got the bag that was meant for black women. It has been heavenly ordained by the dark mother that money should have gone to black women. If it wasn't one of them, it should have gone to his mother. And what kind of monster was raised by the Bryant family that dared, dared to go outside of the black community to look for a mate? And nobody considers Kobe's choice as a man, as an individual human being. Now, you would hear a lot of black women that excuse black women from marrying others, marrying white men, because if they marry for love, it's okay. If that man is the one and love knows no color and they just happen to fall in love and get together, that's okay. That is forgivable. But it's not forgivable if you are the servant, if you are the bonded class, the slave, for instance. It's okay to go out and toil for a high-tech master like the NBA or the Academy or Hollywood. That's okay. But at the end of the day, you have to bring those wages as a slave back to where? Back to mama, your real master. How dare she take the earnings from black women? It doesn't matter that these two people fell in love. And John Sally, who's on set at the video where they met, lots of beautiful women roaming around. And Kobe had just met Vanessa. Vanessa was like 15 or 16 years old. And Kobe said, that's me right there. That's mine. That's what I want. On first sight. And there was many beautiful women around, all different colors, but he picked that one as a teenager. They even showed videos of Kobe picking her up from school every day. And she had to drop out of high school because of the paparazzi following him and her. But all black women can see is that she has the hair and the look that they want. That she's not dark and she doesn't have 4C hair. That's all that they see. Now, Kobe fell in love with his wife at first sight, and they stayed married for over 20 years, had 4 children. That doesn't count. That's not love. But he should have picked a woman like Brandy, or better yet, Khalees, who only stayed married to Nas, who Nas is just as wealthy, for 4 years and raked him through the coals and had him pay $500,000 in child support every year. And then after the kid grows up and she can't get a career together, she's throwing him under the bus still today. Still today, she's still throwing Nas under the bus. But that is preferable over Vanessa Bryant, who never said anything, was never out there, never said a bad thing about Kobe, even though Kobe was in the league, and Kobe, the league does what the league does. And he got caught red-handed. She still weathered that and gave him 4 children and never opened her mouth. But that's okay, because Khalees is supposed to do what she does. She's justified in doing what she does, because these bad black men, they're only worth what you can get from them. Because just like the white woman says, they're violent and they're rapists and they're all kinds of other stuff. It's justified when Khalees says it, just like it's justified when a white woman says it. They're saying the same things about black men. One, to protect who they are, one, to rise to that level of where the white women are. And this is a referendum. Black women don't know it, but this is a referendum on how black women see black men. It really is. And a lot of sisters are going to have to look themselves in the mirror and actually get real about how they feel about black men and where they see themselves in position of black men. I hear young sisters saying that black men are supposed to date them no matter what. They're not supposed to look at other women no matter what. It doesn't matter if they're white, Hispanic, Asian, purple, blue, it doesn't matter. The only woman that a black man deserves or should be with is a black woman. His option, his choice, his desires, his wants don't matter. It doesn't matter if in your area you can't find a decent one or a decent one that's going to be with you. You should scour the whole world to look for that one black woman that desires you. And if you can't, then you need to suck it up and put up with what you get. And if you don't, you should be punished until death for transgressing against the dark mother, right? Can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. And then they wonder why all of a sudden there's a battle cry. A battle cry that they made popular, because SYSBN was not a popular battle cry, that they made popular called Save Yourself Black Man. And if this is not a example of that, then I don't know what is. But you didn't hear it from me. Black woman, you got to get yourself together, because as the old ladies used to say, when you're out going to church, your slip is showing. And your lust for white womanhood, in my opinion, your lust for white womanhood is showing, because this Kobe Bryant situation, where you should be mourning the death of 9 people that tragically died on the hillside, the death of a man and his daughter dying tragically on a hillside. All you can think of is that he didn't marry a black woman. Really? Really? You know better than the white woman, because the white woman thinks of the black man as the same thing as a piece of meat. But we expect that from her. We expect better from you. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm going to jump off here. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one.